Maybe you want to buy a new camera, you just bought one, or you just want to learn some basics about photography. Either way, there are a few things to know about camera settings if you'd like to learn how to take great photos. In this video, we will be talking about the exposure triangle, which consists of aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. Understanding these three fundamental settings will help guide you into the world of photography. Let's start off with aperture. Basically, aperture has to do with the opening and closing of the lens that controls how much light to let in. This can change the exposure and depth of field. Exposure has to do with the brightness, and depth of field refers to what is in focus. These are f-stop values on the aperture scale. The larger the aperture, the wider the opening of the lens and more light is captured. This makes for a brighter or more exposed photo. It also means that there is a shallow depth of field. Therefore, a smaller component is in focus. On the other end, the smaller the aperture, the narrower opening of the lens and less light is captured. This makes for a dimmer or less exposed photo. In addition, there is a greater depth of field, therefore a bigger component is in focus. Moving on to shutter speed. Shutter speed has to do with the amount of time that the shutter of the camera is open for. This setting affects the exposure and motion. Motion has to do with the blur and sharpness of a photo. This is a shutter speed scale, and shutter speed is measured in seconds. The slower the shutter speed, the longer the shutter is open and the more light is captured. This makes a brighter and blurry photo when capturing things in motion. On the other end, the faster the shutter speed, the shorter amount of time the shutter is open for and captures less light. This makes a dimmer and clearer photo when capturing things in motion. Finally, onto the ISO. ISO has to do with amplification of the available light, so it artificially brightens up your photo. This is a scale measuring ISO levels. The lower the ISO, the less light is amplified, and the dimmer the photo. While on the other end, the higher the ISO, the more light is amplified and the brighter the photo. However, the higher the ISO, the more grain or noise is added to the photo. All of these functions work together to create a properly exposed photo. They can be used in different combinations, and higher or lower values of each setting are used for different purposes depending on many factors such as the light available, the scene, and personal artistic choices. For more detailed information and purposes for each setting, head on over to capturetheatlas.com. Have fun as you delve into the world of photography.